So what we want to look at in this video is the concept of dimensions. So on the right hand side here we've got the in-class drawing that we're going to be working on. This may be new to you guys, so let me just explain some of these things. These lines here with the measurements and the arrows are called dimensions, and the lines that are actually features of our section view here would be just our object lines. And you can see some of these different types here. For a particular dimension, these are the extension lines, and they come off of whatever you are measuring. So here we're measuring the exterior wall from the base to the top, and you can see the extensions are offset by some amount to show a little bit of a gap, so you can tell the difference between your features and your dimension lines. So these are the extensions. This would be then the dimension line, and these are your actual dimensions. So these particular dimensions are set up to have arrows for the arrow type. Some of them can have ticks. We'll get into that in a little bit later on in the class. Here's another dimension line that doesn't actually have extensions. It's just measuring the dimension of the exterior wall, and you can see the dimensions given off here to the left. This is an example of a dimension that only has one extension line because the other mimics the actual object line, so you don't show it. Again, this one's just measuring a thickness, and then some other examples down here. So it's important to identify which parts of the dimensions are given, these extensions here and the dimension lines, and just make sure you can decipher between the dimension lines themselves and the actual object. There's two primary types of dimensions. We've got continuous dimensions, in which you're giving a series of dimensions from one point to the next, and then there's this idea of a baseline dimension. So if we were to have provided a dimension from the bottom of our foundation all the way to the top, that would have been called the baseline dimension because it covers the entire distance there. But in this particular drawing assignment, I didn't really think it was necessary because we can draw everything based on these dimensions as well. But it's nice for a summary if you were drawing a floor plan or something and wanted to show the entire length of an exterior wall. What I'd like to do in the rest of this video is just go through and draw these objects. We've already learned our line command and object snaps. We've also looked at trim, extend, and offset. So I'm going to make use of some of these commands and go through this as I would draw it. It may be a little bit quick, but I'll try to explain everything verbally as I'm doing it, just so you guys have some notion. And if you look down here in the command line, this is where all the commands will show up for whatever I am working on here. So I've got a new drawing. I'm going to set my units, and I'm going to set them to architectural, and a precision of 1/16 of an inch is fine. First thing I'm going to do is start at the bottom, so I'm going to draw a line using my relative referencing, so at 4'6", 0, and I need to zoom out a little bit, so I'm going to do zoom with the Z, enter, E, enter, and then just zoom out with my scroll wheel here. And if I check my distance using the distance command and object snaps, this is 4'6". So I'm going to offset this 1 foot 2 inches, so 1 foot 2. Pick that side to that side, hit escape, go to my line by typing L, enter, click from endpoint to endpoint here. And then I know that my foundation here is 1 foot 6 inches wide, and I also know it's 1 foot 6 from the left and 1 foot 6 from the right. So what I could do is draw a line maybe that's 4 foot tall, so at 0, 4 feet, and then do an offset using O, enter, 1 foot 6 inches. Offset this line, offset that line, and just to check, yep, that matches. So I'm going to select and delete these two I don't need anymore. Go to my line command, endpoint to endpoint, and now I'm ready to start my exterior wall here. So again, I'm just going to go to line, specify my endpoint using the object snap there, at 0, 10 feet, hit escape, do an offset, O, enter. My offset distance is 1 foot 2. Go back to line by typing L, hit escape, and then last I need to draw my floor slab over here. So go back to line. Actually, I'm going to be lazy. Go to offset, 12 foot 4, We'll go from there to there, go to the line command, endpoint to endpoint. Let's do an offset of 4 inches for the floor slab thickness. And then we'll look at trim and extend here real quick. So trim, TR, enter. We could select the objects. I'll go ahead and do that. And then hit enter or space and then trim away the objects. We're going to do extend. And here you would select a boundary edge, hit enter or space, and then extend them up to that particular location. I'm going to undo both of those things and just show you that when you use trim, the default select all. So if I hit just space, I can go ahead and trim these things away. Same with extend. Saves you from having to click things if your drawing's not too cluttered and you can get away with what you want. And there we have our drawing. So that'll be the end of this video.